Shabbat Shalom. When I arrived at 10:13 this morning, I thought René and I would be the only ones in the synagogue. So thank you very much for joining us this morning. As Daniel Hollis was reading from the Torah scroll, the Torah portion, Ekev, is an interesting Torah portion because the word Ekev means if or because. In this particular portion, Moses continues his farewell speech to the children of Israel before they are to enter into the promised land, telling them that if they fulfill the mitzvot, God will keep the covenant and fulfill the promise he had sworn to their forefathers. Moses lists all the blessings that God will bestow upon the children of Israel as a reward for keeping his commandments. And he says, and God will love you and bless you and multiply and will bless the fruit of your womb and the fruit of your land, your corn and your wine and your oil, the increase of your cattle, and your flock in the land which he swore to your fathers to give you. So it's been a long time since God promised the land of Israel to the Jews. And this week's Torah portion reminds us of the blessings which we have received, the blessings of being alive and the blessing for good health and joy. It also urges us to be decent human beings, not only Jews, but all mankind, as of course we are all created in the image of God. Today, more than ever, we are able to witness on our screens the suffering of many nations and many peoples. News media is available to us from all around the world. Tikkun olam, the Hebrew phrase meaning repairing the world, signifies a belief that the world is not perfect and that humans have a role in making it better. This concept has evolved over time with roots in classical rabbinic literature and later interpretation in Jewish mysticism and modern Jewish identity. There is no doubt that we as Jews have been associated with social justice efforts, such as addressing poverty, inequality, and discrimination. We have always made our voices heard, and this is to our credit. Our very own Rabbi, Albert Friedlander, was on the front lines, marching with Martin Luther King during the 1965 Selma to Montgomery marches, along the side of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel and many others demonstrating their support for the movement and for their voting rights. Indeed, today we have Jews marching alongside and have been marching alongside. At that time, Rabbi Friedlander and many other rabbis were thanked. Today, we are not thanked. And it is with particular sadness that I see today how we as Jews have started to turn on one another. Arguing is part of Jewish DNA from the time that Korach stood against Moses. The Talmud devotes far more space to disputes than agreement. But for the last 10 years or so, and post 7th of October, we are experiencing some developments where I believe Jews may be endangering our collective future by disuniting us and weakening us throughout the Western world. Had we and the world stood together from the start, perhaps Hamas and their propaganda machine could never, ever have prevailed. We are and continue to be stiff-necked people, as we read in Exodus chapter 33. To a land flowing with milk and honey, for I will not go up in the midst of you, for you are stiff-necked people, lest I consume you in the way. Indeed, Daniel has read the passage, Zavat Chalav Udvash. It is the land of milk and honey, and it should be the land of milk and honey. The dream of Herzl, when he spoke in 1895 and when he wrote his books, he was hoping for a peaceful world in which everybody will be living closely together. Rabbi Solomon ben Isaac, known as Rashi, is one of the most influential Jewish commentators in history. He was born in Troyes, Champagne, in northern France in 1040. He says that God is not sending his Shekhinah, his cover, to the people because if they fail to obey God, God will become angry. This is an extraordinary statement if they fail to saying, I know who you are and what you are doing, and I do not want to be a witness. Jews are turning against Jews. People in general are turning against each other. Wars and famine, such as Russia versus Ukraine, the upheavals in Syria, Sudan, killing of Druze, and of course, we are seeing in Gaza the horrors committed by Hamas. In 2012, I volunteered to be a game maker at the London Olympics and was fortunate to have been one of the chaplains in the Olympic Village, together with my Christian, Muslim, Hindu, and Buddhist colleagues. We were there to be both called upon, but also to share the many aspects we are involved in as pastors of our respective communities. On that occasion, I was gifted a Bible by one of my Christian colleagues called Sports Good News Bible. It contains all of the Hebrew Bible and, of course, the New Testament. And whilst flicking through it, I have realized that we Jews have no special Bible for sportsmen and women, or for anyone else for that matter. What we have is the Hebrew Bible, accessible, available, and speaking to all, whoever we are and whatever we do. And hence the Hebrew Bible is universal, offering comfort and solace to all, but also guidance on how to live, how to serve, and how to care for ourselves and others. I'm reminded of my time as a chaplain because somehow I became more aware this summer's how we are inundated with a plethora of extraordinary sporting events: cricket, football, Formula One, racing, tennis, and extraordinary sportsmen and women. Sport gives an additional dynamism and shape to our lives, whether we watch it or participate. When our team wins or does well, we feel elevated and satisfaction. This reminds me of my trip to Zurich football stadium when I watched our Lionesses win an extraordinary football match against Sweden, and then watching them from the comfort of my home winning the final against Spain. What an extraordinary determination, and which actually brings me back to the Good News Bible, which says football, rugby, swimming, rowing, etc. Whatever your favorite sport, this Bible will enable all those with enthusiasm for sport to share the story of God with the same confidence and passion. Simply stated, if we have zest and passion for life, doing things with real care and enthusiasm, God will support us. But, and there is always a but, it is a game of two halves, God and us. We have an additional set of divine laws by which we must live in order to protect the natural world that God has gifted to us. We can learn this from another Torah text about laws and life. You shall keep my laws and my rules, by the pursuit of which human beings shall live. I am eternal. All of these commandments are directed in the plural form. You all must keep my laws, says God. When we do this, we bring God closer to us. The name Ekev, as I mentioned, means if or because, is a reminder not to have if, ands, or buts, but resoluteness in the way we treat the world and our fellow human beings. Cicero, long time ago, said, "To be ignorant of what occurred before you were born is to remain always a child. A room without books is like a body without a soul." May the Bible, whichever we read, faith and learning be there for us, always, and instead of turning on one another, trying to be more objective and less judgmental, doing rather than talking, reading rather than destroying, just as our lionesses were determined. So we should try to find the strength and the truth of our beliefs. Amen.